Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is my review of Stargirl episode 7. And sorry it was a bit late. I had to do the whole Black Adam thing, so that kind of got in the way of me getting this video up. And I do want to cover the UK season 3 Stargirl as well. Now the only reason why that has not been stapled on and suggested in terms of a date is because we strongly believe now, is that they don't want to do anything until the season actually finishes in America. So we believe at the moment, in this current time, late November, that Amazon Prime in the UK is using that for a date, but that will be confirmed at some point in the next few weeks, we hope. So let's keep an eye on that and see where we go. But this episode begins 6 months prior to the situation we're in now, and we go back to Jenny. So this is great because you know what, I nearly forgot about her, and she's removed from the group home on her 18th birthday, so it flashes all the way back to that. The woman in charge, Maria, gives Jenny the box that we all see with her father's ring and the toy car in it, and she puts the ring on for the first time. But at that moment, when, you know, we saw these events before, but at that exact moment when that happened, her brother Todd Rice was overtaken by the Dark Force and was found by the police. They take him to the Helix Institute, where he's introduced to Nurse Love and Mr. Bones. Now, it's funny because they lied about Todd when Jenny came to see them. He was there, but we'll come on to that later on, whether they were actually hiding him for good or the bad. Now, Nurse Love explained that the cops were friends of theirs, friends of Helix, and Mr. Bones emerged to say that he has hope. Now, when he says he has hope, that doesn't sound like someone who's kidnapping you, does it? And this is the reason why we now have to believe, which is something that we talked about before, that he's only there to observe and watch over them because of these experiments. It does seem in this situation that he's there to help. Now, the Shade has returned. Yippee, hooray. I mean, a lot has gone on since this guy left, and the show levels definitely jumps up when he's come on there. I think we can all agree he is the best actor on the show. There is no competition there. But the Shade returns and brings Courtney and Pat to Jenny under the Helix Institute. And this is where they try to rescue Todd. Now, the reason why the Shade got them is because the Shade and Jenny have been drawing upon each other's energies and powers ever since Jenny was infected by that dark matter residue. Remember when she pointed her ring when they were fighting Eclipso, and that kind of black blob residue jumped inside of her ring? Now, Courtney theorizes that rescuing Todd will allow her to sever that link. And I gotta be honest, like I said, I forgot about Jenny because we're 7 episodes in and she's not been involved so far this season. So it's really great that she's back. She definitely adds a massive element to the show. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. And you guys must be laughing now because I predicted that Mr. Bones was the killer, and then I jumped over to Cindy, and now I jumped over to Mr. Bones. But what I'm about to say now will totally break that up. And it seems that Mr. Bones isn't the killer. He isn't the one watching the cameras, which actually makes sense because he's trying to help. Also, Mr. Bones doesn't make those growling sounds, and that's what kind of threw me off in this episode. Whoever is watching has a temper, and they growl as well. So, Light suppressing his powers, and Todd claims that he will destroy the world if the light is removed. Now, Jenny tries to free him up, but he overtly unleashes a wave of dark energy that saves Pat and Shade into the Shadowlands. So it looks like we're going to be back in the Shadowlands. Welcome to the Shadowlands next week. And I'd like to know how that creepy surveillance video was set up. Isn't that weird? It's kind of scary. How does this person have the ability to just walk into people's rooms, into their homes, into their workplaces and schools, set up cameras right in front of everybody else, and nobody knows about it? I find that is scary and hilarious and creepy at the same time. As for Yolanda, guys, we have to have a conversation. And, you know, I don't make things like this miss. You know, we got to talk about this. Now, her mother is the worst. And I'm glad that she left. No matter what Yolanda does, there's no listening, understanding, or trust. And at some point, you have to have a conversation with your kids. That means that you talk, but then you also listen. Her mother does not listen. She is dictating and pointing fingers and trying to control her child's life without any understanding or input at all. And as Yolanda said, I'm actually grown now. It's a shame because it does reflect on why there's so many broken homes in our society which could have been avoided if the lines of communication were open. It's a real shame. Very sad, that scene. Also, the kids often reflect their parents' actions, and I think you guys know where I'm going with this. It explains why Yolanda isn't giving Cindy a chance. She inherited that from her mum. So she needs to grow away from that. You know, she needs to be a better person, a bigger woman than what her mum was. She needs to break that chain. Otherwise, she is doomed to repeat to be another version of her mother. I did also warn you lot about the hourglass. I made countless videos about talking about it being a drug and why Rex put the limiter on himself for in fear of using it and becoming too addicted to it. And right now, Rick is fully dosed, having a super strength 24 hours a day, and it's dangerous and it's going to hurt someone. And for me, Beth better not hide this from the team or Starman. The sooner she tells them, the quicker they can help Rick. But I feel that this would only get worse before it gets better. Now, Old Man Zeke, someone that I really love, an old G from back in the day. He continues to be the man of wisdom. He has a story for every situation, and I like that they broke up Jakeem and Mike this week because it was kind of getting a little bit annoying. It does make a change, but even though they still lack screen time. But I just like that different angles of this episode. Starman also, guys, continues to be a star. Mentor, leader for the team. We didn't even see his face this week in this week's episode, but he was constantly on the radio guiding the team like a real leader. Really like what they've done with his character, and this is probably what we expected from day one. So the question, guys, is who actually killed the gambler in Stargirl? Now, Stephen Sharp strolled into Blue Valley one day in September looking for a chance to redeem himself and a fresh start, to make amends to the people he had hurt through the work with the Injustice Society. Now, Sylvester summarized that whoever twisted that trailer into a pretzel had to be as strong as Solomon Grundy. Hint, hint. Now, Rick assures that Grundy did not kill the gambler, and that kind of earned dubious looks from Yolanda. So what clues do we have? The clues is the laptop. Well, that's a no-brainer because Cindy sort of slapped that up, and so that's a non-starter. Super strength needed to destroy the trailer. Okay. And there's a single skin cell left behind at the crime scene, which was a dragon-type DNA. So we looked at Cindy, didn't we? And she was found at the scene holding the gun, and while it wasn't used to shoot him, he was stabbed, obviously, through the heart, which is Cindy's MO. But we've cleared her because of the obvious situations that happened last week. She's only looking to cure her skin condition of turning into a Dragon King. The other person is Shiro Ito, which is the Dragon King. He holds a grudge against the JSA, including Sylvester, who was attacked at the crime scene as well. The single skin cell was recovered at the crime scene was his skin cell or Cindy's. And Mid-Nite recognized it as having belonged to the Dragon King. And as we've seen from Cindy, Dragon King's DNA does have a level of healing factor. So the question is he actually really dead? There's also the No Limit Gang, which we were talking about. They were on the night of the murder and they were former associates of the gambler, but they ain't showed up. Grundy, guys, has super strength and nobody seems to be talking about him because apparently he's still buried under the ground. But have we seen a body? And guys, the question I have against that is, does he actually have the mental capacity to cover up a crime? No, he doesn't. A wild theory, guys, is it could have been Cameron. Cameron could have killed the gambler. But what would have been his motive? Did he think that it was a gambler that killed his father? I mean, they actually got on better than any other people in the ISA, so I'm not sure about that. Look, guys, we're just going to have to wait and see how long this particular mystery lasts. This whodunit on a show like this, I have to admit, is hella fun. This is making the show very enjoyable. So, who's up for the Shadowlands? That's all I'm saying. That's what's going to happen next. I have to give this episode a healthy 8 out of 10. Very, very good episode. Not a lot of action, not as much as there was last week. But I think that the whole coming together and the camaraderie of what we're seeing is going to have to play itself through. Yolanda and Courtney are going to have to patch up that friendship because Courtney is going to have a new roommate. And there's 6 people living in that house. We know there's a family of 4. Starman is in the basement, and now we have Yolanda. So it's a situation that's going to get better from that perspective. And I'm looking forward to it, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, thanks for supporting the channel. Please like this video, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Peace out.